Hello, welcome back to the Earle Wellbeing YouTube channel. Lovely to have you here, as always, part of our fabulous community where we share ideas and inspiration for all of us to have a better second half. Well, on that note today, I'm going to be diving into the world of dating. Yeah, especially how we can approach it in midlife. Maybe you're coming out of a relationship, maybe it's time to move on, dip your toe back in the water. Well, for me, as I've touched upon briefly before, I went through a divorce during lockdown, which was not ideal, living at two ends of the same house. But after a couple of years in the wilderness on my own, actually loving the process of learning how to enjoy my own company, getting used to the idea that I don't actually need anyone else to complete me. That's really important. For me to feel genuinely happy as a singleton, which I do, and I do think that that's an important part of the process actually before jumping back into any relationship. So for me, I finally felt ready to get back out there, and after quite a lot of persuasion from friends who'd found a lot of success actually on dating websites, I actually signed up to one of them online, and I enjoyed quite a few nice cups of coffee and the odd dinner with some really nice guys actually before finding my current beau. Well, after many decades of marriage, I think it's fair to say that it was quite an unnerving experience stepping back out there again as a single woman. And I think for our generation, perhaps dating apps are a really new discovery. You know, they weren't around back in the day. So how do we start? So if that's you, I just wanted to share a little bit today about how I approached this new phase of life. And if, like me, you found yourself suddenly single and maybe you're keen to get back out there but not sure how, I hope that you find this little bit of personal experience helpful. So I thought it'd be worth mentioning here just a quick note actually on the so-called failed relationships. Well, inevitably, as we turn our attention to a new romance maybe, thoughts might naturally turn towards those relationships that we've had in the past. And I recorded a really helpful podcast with the psychotherapist Lucy Beresford, and she had some really useful insights, and you can find the full episode on the Earle Wellbeing website. We'll put a link below so you can find that. But the one thing that she said that I wanted to share with you, because it really stuck with me, for so long I'd been calling my recent divorce a failed marriage. But Lucy really reminded me that it wasn't a failure. You know, we shared beautiful children together, we had many happy times, and so it wasn't a failure as such. And it really helped me to recognise all those joyful moments that we did have together. And rather than a failure, how much I'd actually learnt from this relationship and how perhaps I could use these learnings as a springboard then to something better. So reframing that in my mind has been really helpful in then allowing me to move forwards in a more positive light. So I do urge you to give that episode a listen, and it's got so many useful insights, especially if you are dating after divorce in midlife. Okay, on to the nitty gritty. So getting back out into the dating world for me was absolutely terrifying. But once I'd taken that first step, it did become a whole lot easier. And I think it's important before you go on a date to know what you want. And far from being scary, actually dating in midlife can be incredibly freeing. You know, it's not like when we were younger. You know who you are more likely to know what you want from life. So before reaching up for the apps actually, or signing up maybe for a speed dating night, I think it's really useful to consider what it is that you want from your next relationship. Is it casual? Is it friendship? Is it long term? Do you want somebody who likes the same things, for example, or maybe you're happy to maintain more of your independence and, you know, meet somebody maybe outside the norm? And of course, you know, it's likely that there will be a bit of give and take. No one person may completely fulfill your wish list, but having an awareness of core values for yourself, and for me, I found that knowing what I will and what I will not tolerate in a relationship has been incredibly beneficial to really think about that before I step back into the dating world. So my second tip is to be really honest. You know, it's tempting, of course, to only showcase the best of ourselves, especially on dating apps and whatnot. But I've often found that being honest and, you know, showing a little bit of vulnerability can go a long way. more often than not, people respond in a similar way, and they tend to be a bit more open about themselves too. And being honest in the short term really can help set us up for longer term success. Plus, you don't have to keep remembering any little white lies that you may have told that, could catch you out later. You don't have to reveal everything in one go, of course. There's no need to overshare. Don't think you have to do that. For me, I didn't really say what I did, except that I worked in publishing, I was interested in well-being. I didn't say that I had 5 children. I felt that might sound a little bit too complicated, certainly if I hadn't actually met somebody yet. And I just said that I was happily divorced, I had older kids, and that, they would inevitably sometimes take priority over my life and my time. And the guys tended to respond to that really well, a little bit of personal background. The chances are they are in the same position too, and they want to be able to share that. And I learned quite quickly kind of the logistics of it all. It's best to message first, then you set up a phone call and you chat. Don't worry about sharing your phone number. It's really easy to delete and even block if you need to later on. And don't worry too much about being ghosted. Unfortunately these days it seems to be really common. Don't take it too personally. It happens to the best of us, myself included. And just accept that that person clearly wasn't for you, and you move on. Some people are just plain rude, or maybe they can't actually face the confrontation of having to say, do you know what, you're not for me. And that's actually okay. And so then when you do decide to meet someone, my advice is, and this is really key, is to arrange for a short initial meeting. Don't overcommit. Maybe suggest a cup of coffee or a quick drink. Mention beforehand that you're going on somewhere, so you feel comfortable about saying goodbye. There's, you have to go now. There's no expectations to stay for the evening if you're not feeling it. That's absolutely fine. And of course, if you are getting along really well, you can always say your plans have changed and you can stay for a little bit longer, but there's no pressure. That's really important, I think. Don't put yourself under any unnecessary stress. And so my final thought really is this: it's to just try and have fun with it. It's easy to feel frustrated after a series of bad dates or not being able to find a suitable match, maybe on a dating app. And I found that avoiding setting myself any expectations, any deadlines to find a new relationship has been really helpful. Be patient, don't expect to find Mr. or Miss Right immediately. In the end, though, it is a numbers game. The more people you get out there and actually meet IRL, in real life, the more likelihood there is of actually finding someone really nice you actually want to spend time with. I feel that we spend so many of our younger years worrying about finding the right person, wondering if we want kids or not, all of that. But actually in later life, this can be a time when we can just enjoy dating. We can be a little bit selfish, prioritise what it is that we really want. And you can't rush that. And when it happens, when you find the one, trust me, you will know. So what do you think? Let me know. What tips do you have? What stage of life are you at? Are you dating? Had any successes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And do make sure that you're subscribed to this YouTube channel so you never miss another episode. Lots more good stuff coming out. Until the next time then, if you are out and about, go out, have some fun. You never know what is out there until you try.